He votes on the Hall of Fame. He covered the greatest team of all time, the Steelers of the 70s. I don't care what anybody else says and all that. I like the 85 Bears, but they didn't have staying power. And maybe even the greatest offensive line of all time with the Hogs, too. Let's face it. He went from, and I've always wanted to ask you this, so I'll ask you this now. I remember in that era, you went from covering the Steelers to the Baltimore Colts. And in that era, I remember Paul Zimmerman at Sports Illustrated once saying the team that I would most want to work for was the Steelers because of the Rooney family. The team I would least like to work for was the Colts because of the Ursays. Now, you weren't working, you were covering, but Vito Stellino at VitoStellino.com, did you sense that with what Paul Zimmerman was saying was true at the time?
Ursay's wife called him a devil on Ursay's mother. His mother called him a devil on earth. So when you lost your mother, you usually have some problems. It was a terribly run franchise, and Ursay was very sober afternoon. He was, had a real drinking problem, and he didn't have any resources, and it was, and they considered the history of the Baltimore Colts, played in the development of the NFL. There was almost like a tragic feel to it. Frank DeFord wrote that if you could ruin football in Baltimore, it was like spoiling the water at Lourdes,
Yeah.
So, but
Frank DeFord was at the very first Baltimore Colts game. Actually, there had been a franchise in the old AAFC, but he was at the very first football game that the Colts played in 1953. They beat the Bears, and at the end of the first half, Bert Retchichar kicked a 56-yard field goal, which for, I think, 17 years was the league record. And Retchichar, 2 years before, had been this big star at the University of Tennessee, leading the Vols to the national championship as well as the College Baseball World Series. So that's a local tie right there to tell everyone about historically and such. I did want to go in. I was very intrigued a little bit about this this Cooper trade with the Raiders and the Cowboys, because you kept hearing that, the Raiders are insane. They're never going to get a first-round pick for him. And then the Cowboys, who desperately need somebody to throw to, give him the first-round draft choice. What was your take, Vito Stellino, about that deal?
Well, the Cowboys overpaid, no question about that. But again, they're desperate and they're hoping that he'll help them make the playoffs, and that turns into a late-round pick. But it's like the Raiders now are just saying, well, we're going to gut this team and build for when we go to Los Angeles, which is kind of unfortunate for the people who are still in Oakland and are still playing there. Nobody knows where they're going to play next year because the leases run out, and Oakland is not amenable to giving him another year, and so it's really going to be strange. And the Las Vegas Stadium won't be ready, so it's going to be really strange to see how all that plays out. But yeah, the Cowboys overpaid, but they're like, Jerry Jones is desperate to get to another Super Bowl. He's been there since 1995. That's a long, long time. And so you make you make rash moves, and if they don't, if they would make a Super Bowl, which I doubt, but say if they would make it, they just say, okay, well, it was worth it, but I don't think they're going to, and so it depends on how late in the first round that pick is to really judge the deal.
You talk about, we talked a little bit about how the Colts back in the day were poorly run. I mean, look at the Raiders right now, and it's criminal, I think, what they're doing to their fans and really the iconic brand. I've often said that the Raiders, you think of them and you think of like gangster rap. Well, they're becoming now going from being the team of that gangster rap type of thing to Steve and Edie. I'm not sure that's the best thing for a football team, to tell you the truth. But anyway, Vito Stellino, I want to ask you, you were talking about the Cowboys. It's been, more than 20 years since they've won a Super Bowl. Some of their luster, maybe, as America's team is coming off. But is it practical to think that trading for a receiver can make them one of the NFL's elites? Right now, almost halfway through the season, I see 4 elite teams. I see the Rams, I see the Chiefs, I see, the Patriots coming up from the outside, and I see the Saints. And then I basically see everybody else. Don't you think that it's impractical to believe that any one of those other 4, that the 4 teams I mentioned right there, can you possibly see anybody else win the Super Bowl this year?
You mean I possibly think the Cowboys could win?
Yeah, I mean, even by making this deal.
No way.
Yeah.
Those other teams are obviously better. And I don't even think they'll get there because, are they going to beat Grant? I think that's pretty unlikely, to begin with. So, but as I say, you do rash things, and, Jerry's not accountable to anybody. It's his team.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants. It's his ball. So that's the trouble with one-man rule when the one man owns the team. Even the most powerful general manager, he has to answer to the owner if he makes too many mistakes to lose his job. Well, Jerry's kind of like Dan Snyder. He's not going to lose his job, but he loves to meddle. And, so it's like his toy. And the amazing thing is they still have a cachet. I mean, they're still living off the Tom Landry, Texan era.
Yeah.
And still get good TV ratings. But, it's been 1995. Over 2 decades since they've won, and they haven't really been, I think they only won a couple of playoff games even in all those years. So Jerry's very good at making money, not as good as running a football team.
I think they've won 1, and that was the disputed game against the Lions, where they were, but they've won 1 game in the playoffs, if memory serves, since 1996. If memory serves. Then they beat the Vikings that year and then lost to the Panthers in the playoffs back when. But, Vito, I mean, you covered the NFL in the 70s and in the glory era. And, that was the era of the Steelers and the Cowboys. And I think that, they came into their own. They had Heartland appeal, both the Cowboys and the Steelers. Certainly when Terry Bradshaw and Don Meredith became broadcasting stars, they had Heartland appeal that made their appeal nationwide, in my opinion. And, the generation to generation, Dad handing down his favorite team to his son, I think, is one of the reasons why the Cowboys, and for that matter, even still the Steelers, are as popular as they are. Maybe even the Raiders, even though they keep losing themselves, they still seem to be keeping on some of their nationwide fan base that maybe, say, the Dolphins or the 49ers have not been able to over the years or so. But anyway, we're talking to Vito Stellino. Do you see anybody other than that big 4 of teams that I mentioned? I mean, if I got to do power rankings, I got to go something like Rams, Chiefs, Patriots, Saints. Do you see anybody else in that mix maybe challenging for, a Lombardi trophy this year?
Somebody could emerge. You never know. It's half the season to go. But, the Eagles have been disappointing. The Vikings have been disappointing. Those are 2 teams everybody thought. Kind of keep an eye on the Chargers, though. They're kind of very quietly only a game behind the Chiefs. And, they've beaten some bad teams. Of course, they have no home field advantage. And they'll have to be a wild card team. So, because I don't see them catching the Chiefs. But, I think those 4 you mentioned are kind of the big 4 this year, at least to this point, unless somebody really gets hot.
The Steelers, too much turmoil there. Who's going to be the running back? Where's the defense? Is that sort of the way you look at them? Because they might be in the top 10 and, an established winner, but there's something missing, it seems, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Would you agree there?
Ryan Shazier is a big piece of business. Defense has been the same since he left. We got hurt, very tragic accident,
Sure.
But, yeah, they seem to be too inconsistent. I mean, they'll get Bell back, but who knows when he's in good shape. Although, I mean, actually, the guy who replaced him is going pretty well, so. But, yeah, I don't see them, challenging those other four teams.
You mentioned on VitoStolino.com about a week ago, you wrote how, hey, it's time for the Buffalo Bills to clean house. I mean, Sean McDermott, excuse me, what's he doing with his quarterbacks? The general manager also, I mean, he's letting him do this and such. Who do you think would be up-and-comers in the league? I mean, just, rising stars that could be the next great coach or general manager in the league that might be able to win with Josh Allen in Buffalo in the future?
Yeah, it's really tough unless they've been a head coach before, to know which assistant coaches, there's some assistant coaches who are getting, some props, but I really wouldn't venture a guess because you just really, coaching is such. If you've been a career assistant, some guys to transition, some guys don't. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. I mean, that's what that's one of the problems in the league right now. There aren't a lot of great coaches. I mean, and the ones that they have, Mike Vrabel going for 2 when he was dominating the second half. How do you justify that? I mean, that's it's like you're beat up and you figure, well, you're not going to win the overtime. They sort of like had a chance to win overtime and to pull out one play and then to get a second chance to get to the one and then running the ball. Just some very strange decisions being made around the league these days.
The Titans are 0 for 7 on their last. They were 0 for 7 on their last times they went for 2-point conversions. Think about that. That's converting a 4th and 2. I mean, that's not, and, they've always thrown. Never, even when they had the ball at the 1 after a penalty, and I can definitely see. I say, look, 50-50 chance, got to be better to get 1 yard, right? Let's go for this, okay? I mean, we'll even have the onside kick as a fallback if it doesn't work out, that sort of thing. And, yeah, I mean, just can't get it. It was disappointing there. I still, though, like aggressive coaching. I got to tell you that, Vito. I still like aggressive coaching. Would you see anybody in the college ranks maybe that you think could be a good pro coach? I don't know, Chris Peterson at Washington, or someone, an up and comer that you like anywhere in college?
Yeah, I'm just not sure because guys get reputations, and I mean I was surprised that Kyle Shanahan got a head job after he botched that Super Bowl. So. So I don't think there's really a hot guy right now. So we just have to kind of, wait and see, who emerges like in the second half of the year, that type of thing.
He's Vito Stellino. He's going to get him on the tennis court. And like I said, he's been covering the NFL. I was teasing him a little bit here and asking him for anecdotes about, I don't know, Beatty Feathers or something like that. Not quite back there, but to the Alex Karras and the Joe Schmidt days and such. Yeah, he was there, and he knows football, as he has definitely told us here today. Vito, it is always a pleasure, and can't wait to talk a little bit more about the NFL as the season grows longer, as well as certainly when Hall of Fame time comes out. Who's going to make it, who isn't? By the way, I'll just ask you this. Could you by any chance see Jason Witten making a comeback to the Cowboys? I mean, the Monday Night Football gig has not gone as well as he had hoped, I think. Do you think that could be in the cards by any chance?
I just don't know. I've heard, he's not getting very good reviews. He's not another Tony Romo in the booth. They're probably disappointed, but as far as coming back after a year off, it's, I don't know. I don't know if he'd want to do it, whether, he's hoping he'll grow into it or not, so, but, yeah, I think they have to be a little disappointed, and, they call it,
Yeah.
a lot of regional games before he became John Madden with overall. That they didn't hand him a primetime gig right off the bat. But in this day and age, these former players, they want to showcase them more. And what often happens is, 3 years down the road, it's not looking good. Then another shiny object,
Sure.
Another guy comes by with a lot of panache, and they grab him.
Sure.
So we'll just have to, wait and see how the way the thing works out. But yeah, the Monday Night Crew is not getting a lot of good reviews.
Okay. Well, there's always Elizabethton High School. He might be able to be the offensive coordinator for his brother here. They're ranked 5th in the state. Okay, Vito? I'll let you know that. Hey, it's Vito Stellino. Check him out, VitoStellino.com. I know he's going to have his notes up about Week 8, and I can't wait to read it, and I'll tell you about what he writes when he does here on Tri-City Sports Now coming back, and I'll tell you what games you're going to see on Sunday in the NFL after this.
Okay, always great talking to you.
It is